This is video number 78 for violin and viola players. And in this video, we're going to learn even more about naturals and F naturals and how they work with key signatures, as well as, of course, do some echoing and practicing. So first thing I need you to do is take your book out, open to page 32, and then also I need you to tune your instrument really well with the tuner and have that tuner on your stand. If you don't have a tuner, hopefully if you have like a laptop or something, you can maybe make this screen a little bit smaller and have the tuner right next to this video, okay? But ideally, you have an actual tuner. I feel that they work better than any kind of app. If you don't, this would be a good time to invest in a tuner because they're very, very important, especially for learning new notes like this. Because remember, you're not going to get a tape for this note, right? So you need to really start using your ears, and the quickest way to train your ears is through the use of a tuner, okay? So have your tuner on, make sure it says 440 and you've tuned yourself really well. If you've done that, you're ready for this video. Let's start off, just kind of review. Remember, every note, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, every note all over your instrument has 3 positions. Sharp is the highest, natural's in the middle, and flat's the lowest. We learned flat in book 2. We know a lot of notes that are natural. Most of our notes are natural. We only knew F sharp and C sharp, but we also know C natural. And now you also know F natural. So how do we do that? How do we take a sharp and make it natural? You make it lower. Sharp's the highest, natural's in the middle, flat's the lowest. So take the sharp, make it lower, it becomes natural. So remember what we do. Here's F sharp, slide it back to where it touches your first finger. Now it might be squeezed in, there might be just it barely touches. Your tuner is going to tell you exactly where it needs to go. Okay, put your first finger down the D string, then put your second finger right next to it. Play 4 F naturals, echo me. And go F natural, F natural, F natural, F natural. Now do 2 E's, 2 F's. Notice I just said F, I didn't say F sharp. So what does that mean? F natural. Remember, the sharp is necessary for me to say sharp. If I just say F, that means F natural. 2 E's, 2 F's. And go E, E, F, F. Now do 2 E's and 2 F sharps. E and F sharp. And go E, E, F sharp, F sharp. Do 2 F sharps and then slide it back to F naturals. F sharp, F natural. And go F sharp, F sharp, F natural, F natural. Now do this. 2 G's, 2 F sharps. And yes, I mean F sharps. 2 G's, 2 F sharps. Echo me. And go G, G, F sharp, F sharp. Now do 2 G's, 2 F naturals. So G, G, F natural, F natural. Now do this. D, E, F sharp, F sharp. That's what you're used to. D, E, F sharp, F sharp. Echo me. And go D, E, F sharp, F sharp. Now do D, E, F natural. I'm trying to get you to hear the difference between F sharp and natural. D, E, F natural. And go D, E, F natural, F natural. Okay? Now, when you're going from F natural to G, your G is very possibly going to be too low. Why is that? Because G has been hanging out with your second finger since like you started putting fingers down, like, a long time ago. So third finger just does not like to be alone. It's going to have to get used to it because sometimes second finger is going to abandon it and go back to first finger. Okay, so third finger is going to have to stretch. It's going to want to pull down and be like, don't leave me, second finger. It's going to go down here. We don't want that. So F natural, stretch up the G. Try that now. 2 F naturals, 2 G's. Stretch it up. And go. F natural, stretch, G, G. Watch that tuner. The best thing you can do for yourself is spend what's going to seem tedious, some time right now with your tuner, just doing what we're doing right now, but doing it on your own until you feel like, okay, this is what F natural feels like, this is what it sounds like, this is what F sharp feels like, this is what this sounds like. Green lights. It's difficult, but it's possible, okay? All right, now, look at 128 in your book. Now, this is really going to start making you understand how key signatures work with natural signs. Now, I purposely left this out of the first video because it was kind of long, or the previous video, but when you have a note that does not belong in the key signature, it's called an accidental, okay? Don't worry about where the name came from. It's not an accident. It's definitely on purpose. It's called an accidental, okay? So look at number 128. What is in the key signature? Well, F's are sharp. It's G major, right? F's are sharp. One sharp means F's are sharp. Everything else is natural, okay? So look at measure 1 of 128. Measure 1 has 2 G's, and then what are those F's? Are they sharp or natural? Well, if there's nothing in the key signature, if there's nothing else in the measure, we go by the key signature, okay? So we have 2 G's and then 2 F sharps, all right? Now look at measure 2. This is where things can get a little bit complicated. That first note clearly is a natural, because there's a natural sign right in front of us. So we're going to be sliding our 2 down to play F natural. What about the second note? And remember, if it's not in the key signature, that F natural is called an accidental, right? The second note, remember, the natural sign, or the accidental, the natural sign is good for the rest of the measure. I'm about to add something to that. It's good for the rest of the measure, or unless a sharp sign comes and takes over, okay? So the first note is clearly an accidental F natural. Then the next note is also F natural, okay? Because the natural sign is still good. But look at the third note of measure 2. That is F sharp, okay? So what about the last note? Is the natural sign still good from the beginning of the measure? It lasts a whole measure. No, it lasts a measure, or unless a sharp sign takes over. So the F naturals and F sharps are just fighting. I mean, back and forth, back and forth. So the first 2 notes of measure 2 are F natural, low 2. Then you slide it up for F sharp for the last 2 notes of measure 2, okay? Now look at measure 3, G. We don't have to worry about it. Look at the 2 G's, and then there's nothing in the measure. If there's nothing in the measure, what do? We go by the key signature. What does the key signature say? It says all F's are sharp. So measure 3 is 2 G's and 2 F sharps. Look at measure 4, they're G's and G's, okay? Look at the second line. Second line starts off with G's, and then there's nothing in the key, say it again. There's nothing extra in the measure. There's no accidentals in the measure, so we go by the key signature. The key signature says all F's are sharp. So second line, G, G, F sharp, F sharp. Second line, second measure. The first note is F natural. Second note, also F natural. The natural sign is still good till the end of the measure. Okay, now look at measure 3. They had to put a new natural sign because the other one expired at the end of the measure, right? So measure 3 of the second line, F natural for the first note, F natural for the second note, and look, the sharp sign has come back over to take over. So sharp sign for the third and fourth note of that measure. And then the last are just G's, okay? So if you don't understand how these work, please feel free to ask me. You can email me and ask me about that. I'll try to explain it a little bit better. But go by your key signature unless there's an accidental, a natural sign, and then it's good for the rest of the measure, or unless the sharp sign takes over. There's going to be a lot of sliding around in this one. A lot of sliding around. Shadow bow, 128, 1, 2, shadow bow, and no, G. Now F sharp, because the key signature, so now slide it down, back to F sharp. G, F sharp, and now second line, G, F sharp, slide it down, F natural, now E, now F natural, slide it up, F sharp, G, 3, off. Okay? If you need to shadow bow that again and understand where the sharps and naturals do, just rewind the video and you can do that again. Or if you're ready to play with me, go ahead and play with me. 128, ready, and go. G, now F sharp, slide it back, F natural, slide it up, F sharp, back to G, F sharp, now G, open G, second line, F sharp, slide it back, F natural, now E, F natural, slide up for F sharp, all right? That one might take a little bit of time, especially for you to be able to get it in tune. When you're sliding that F sharp back up, the F back to F sharp, make sure it gets on the tape, okay? Now let's look at 129. 129, look at the key signature. It looks like they forgot it. You didn't forget it. That is the key signature. That's your new key signature right there. Now I gotta tell you, I love this book, but they kind of made a mistake here, okay? They use this key signature, but they don't teach it to you until the next page. I don't think they realize that, okay? So I want you to flip over. That was my tuner. I want you to flip over to page number 34 real quickly. Look at the top of page 34. See where it says key signature C major. You see your clef sign and you see nothing else there. That means that everything is natural. Everything is natural. So now we're going to play F natural unless we see a sharp sign. Everything's natural unless there's a sharp sign next to it. All of the notes are natural, okay? Which, guess what? You've been playing everything else natural other than F's and C's since the beginning of the year. So everything's natural in C major. That is your new key signature, okay? Now here's something else I kind of hate about this book. I love this book, but this one part bothers me. Look at 129. You see how the first time they choose to use C major, first of all, they forgot to teach it to you first before they used it. But then also it has a C right there. That C has nothing to do with C major. What is that? That is your time signature. That is common time, 4/4 time, okay? I really, really, really wish that they would have written 4/4 time instead of common time. It's the same thing, just a different notation. That C is very misleading. Please understand that that C does not mean C major, okay? Look back over on page 34 real quick, and I want you to look at number 136. That's a good example. Look at 136, 135, 136, 138, 139. Those have time signatures that aren't the C, okay? And then look at 137. That C that's there does not mean C major. It's not going to give you that away. You need to know your key signatures. So now you learned D major that had F sharp and C sharp. You learned G major that had just F sharp. And now you know C major. And it has no sharps. It also has no flats. The best way to say C major is all naturals. C major is all naturals. Everything's natural. So now we're going to do 129 and look at the first measure. The last two notes, those are F naturals, aren't they? There's no natural sign. We don't need it. The natural sign only exists, its entire existence is to get rid of the sharp sign. If there's not a sharp sign there, natural sign's not going to show up. Okay, so the natural sign is only there to get rid of sharp signs. There's no sharp sign, natural sign's going to stay at home, not going to bother. But you still have to play F natural. You have to play F natural because there is no sharp sign and everything is natural, okay? So at 129, when you play at the beginning, we're going to shout about it in a second, but low 2 right there, okay? Don't do an F sharp, even though there's no natural sign. It's F natural. Okay, shut above 129. We're going to go pretty slow on this because it's not easy. And you got a fourth finger after a low 2. Oh my gosh. Okay, shut above 1, take 2, take 129, shadow bow. Low 2. Then stretch fourth finger. Low 2. Stretch 4. 3, take, 4, take, off. Let's do a couple things to help you play that in tune, okay? Can you do this? Do 2 F naturals and 2 Gs. We'll do a little bit of echo again. 2 F naturals, 2 Gs, echo me. Watch your tuner and go. F natural, G, G. Now do F natural, G, A, and use fourth finger. And I'm going to show you something that's going to help. Now, if your fingers aren't strong, this isn't going to work for you. You're going to sound bad. I'm going to keep my third finger down, but I'm going to reach up for that. I'm going to pick these up a little bit. Independent fingers, right? I'm going to keep the 3 down to help with the 4. But then I can kind of rock that 2 back. That's going to help you reach it. Now, if your fingers aren't strong enough to hold the string down, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen, okay? Low 2, stretch. Keep the 3 down to help your pinky. Do F natural, G, A, A. Try that. Stretch the 4th finger and go. F natural, G, stretch 4, A, now go backwards. A, G, F natural. And go. 4, 3, and low 2. Now remember, we talked about whole steps and half steps. These are all whole steps. See that? They're all spaced out. They're all whole steps. Okay, play just measure one. Just measure one. Okay, you might be able to memorize it. Look at your tuner. Okay, measure one only. Echo me. And low two and go. D, D, E, E, F natural, low two. Okay, now do measure two. Kind of tricky. Low two, three, stretch the four. All those whole steps. Echo me. Measure two. And stretch the four and go. F natural, G, G, stretch four. Okay, this next measure I think is pretty tricky. You start on the fourth finger. Do measure three. Echo me. And go. A, G, G, low two, G. Okay, now last measure. And go. A, G, F natural, E, D. Okay, now I'm going to suggest you pause the video, practice those parts, get it in tune, please get it in tune. We're going to go about this speed, okay? Play, if you're ready, play it with me. And one, two, and go. Low two, F natural. Stretch the four. Stretch that four still. G on the tape, now reach back. Stretch. Off. Guys, if you will practice that measure three a lot, you'll probably get the rest of the song pretty easily. But practice that going from 4 to 3, back and forth with your tuner on. That's the trickiest part about this, is measure 3 because of the fourth fingers, okay? A lot of stretching. Watch your tuner, you can do it.